Welcome to your virtual outplanting. My name is Carmen and I coordinate the orchids program as well as the orchid propagation lab where we grow Florida native orchids to go out into urban and natural areas. Today we're going to be outplanting orchids into this habitat behind me, just like our orchid students would have done with the ones they grew in their classrooms. Come on! Students grew Encyclotampensis, commonly named butterfly orchids. This type of orchid is an epiphyte, plant that grows on another plant, but it's not parasitic. There are also orchids that are terrestrial. There are three important parts in the orchid: the leaves, the roots, and the pseudobulb. The leaves are important for photosynthesis. Orchids use their roots to obtain nutrients from the air. The pseudobulb is used as water storage to survive during the dry season. Pay close attention to the pseudobulb as it is important for attaching the orchid to the tree. These types of orchids, commonly named butterfly orchids, like trees that have rough bark. This tree has rough bark. On top of that, it also has some moss growing on it, which means it holds a lot of humidity. It also likes a lot of shade, so you can see that all of these branches around the orchid is providing some shade so they don't get sunburned. This is an example of a tree that has a smooth surface. Butterfly orchids like rough surfaces or bark to hold onto it. When looking for a great spot to place an orchid, we look for where two branches meet. A V area where the orchid can get a little bit more of a secure location, like a nest. This is an oak tree. It's a great tree host for the orchid because it has a rough bark, and I can even see the little pieces of lichen on it. So now that we found a great host for our orchids, we're going to attach it to it. We will be using liquid nails to attach the orchid to the tree. This special glue is silicone-based, which means the rain or water exposure will not wash it away. We must be careful not to place the glue onto the root system, since it needs to be free to be able to obtain the nutrients from the air. Some orchids that are too small may not have yet developed a pseudobulb. That's okay. We will use less glue. Place a small drop of liquid nails to the tree bark, not to the orchid. Now find the pseudobulb and place it into the glue drop. Hold it in place for 10 seconds. Since this tree is big, we will place 10 orchids on it. Spread the orchids throughout the tree, some on the north side, south side, east, and west. If you can access a ladder, use it to safely place a few orchids higher. Since these orchids are native, you do not need to fertilize or water them. We have selected this time of the year, approaching the wet season, to install these orchids so they have access to water while they attach to the tree and to continue growing. FAU Pine Jog Environmental Education Center is conducting research on how successful these plantings are. So we collect data on all the locations, types of trees, date, and number of orchids per tree. After a year, we come back to the same location to check on the status of the orchids. This information helps us for future plantings.